Hi, I'm Blake Hall. I'm a developer at Lullabot, and today we're going to take a look at Drush's Project Manager. So I've got a blank, just basic Drupal 7 site here, and a terminal window. And the first thing we're going to do is just run Drush to get a list of the commands that we're talking about today. So here we've got the Project Manager commands. They all start with PM. And the first command we're going to take a look at is PM list. Most of these commands involve showing the status of or interacting with the contrib modules on your site in some way. So whenever I'm learning about a Drush command, the first thing I do is run help. So I'm going to pass in the help flag to the command alias PML. This is the same as PM-list. So we can see from the help file here that the PML command takes a couple of different options. We can filter by the type of project, whether it's a module or a theme. We can filter by status, whether or not it's been enabled or uninstalled. We can filter by package, so if it's a core module or if it's provided by something like Calendar or cTools. We can filter out things whether or not they're included in core, and then the pipe option makes the output of the command a little more friendly for scripting. So let's just go ahead and run drush PML and take a look at what it outputs for a default Drupal 7 site. We'll see we've got a list of our modules that are included in core. We can tell they're all modules by this column. And then the fourth column over here, the status, will tell us whether or not the module has been enabled or installed on the site. And you'll notice down on the bottom that this includes themes as well. So that's basically the default output of the PML command. One thing I find myself doing really often is using this to check the status of one particular module on my site to see if I've remembered to turn it on or off. You can see in the second column in parentheses we have the machine name for the modules on our site, and if you want to do something for a site that has 150 modules, say, you just want to check, did I remember to turn off the PHP filter in production? You can do things like drush PML, pipe the output of that through grep, and then just search for the PHP filter module in particular, and that'll give you the output for anything that's matching the string PHP. And in this case, since I knew that was the name of the module, I can make sure that good, I didn't turn the PHP filter module on. So that's a good first step. The second command we're going to take a look at is PM release or PM releases. The abbreviation for that is RL. So again, if I take a look at the help, we can see that this command basically allows us to get information from Drupal.org about version numbers for a particular project or projects. So this is useful to see which versions of a given module are available, and you can compare that to what you're running on your site. So the first thing I do when I install a Drupal site usually is to go out and grab views, since that's a very useful module. So if I run drush rl views, we can see that there are currently, for Drupal 7, 2 different possible versions of the project I could check out. One is the dev release, and the second is a release candidate, the 7.x 3.0 RC1. And at the moment, that's the recommended release of views. So that's great. We can also use another drush command to actually go out and download the module for us, so we don't have to visit Drupal.org, download the compressed file, uncompress it, somehow get it onto our server. Drush can just do that for us. And that's the PM download command, or the DL. So if I take a look at the help file for download, we'll see a ton of options. The most useful ones are up here at the top. first of all, you can notice that you can actually just say drush dl name of module or list of modules to go out and pull in a bunch of different contrib modules or themes that you know you'll need. You can also do things like pass in the version number if you need a very specific version of a module. You can also pass in the select option, which will prompt you for which version you want to download of each of the modules that you run the drushdl command for. You can also use flags like destination to put the code that you're downloading in a particular directory. By default, it will go in cites all modules or the location of your other contrib modules. There's also a way to use drushdl to interact with a couple of different version control systems. So if you need all of the modules that you're downloading quickly added and committed to SVN, for example, there's some documentation here for that. If you want to use the Git versions of modules to actually do Git checkouts with drush download, you can use the package handler filter option. For now, we're going to stick to something a little more simple, and we're just going to grab views and ctools. So I'm going to do drushdl views and ctools. And this will go out to Drupal.org, grab the latest recommended release, download those, and then let us know what the machine names of the modules and the versions that it's downloaded, and as well as the location. So now that we've got the modules actually on our site, we can use the enable command to actually turn the modules on and off. So if I run drush again, just to take a look at all of the PM commands, there are sort of three that are grouped in the same category. PM enable will actually turn modules on or themes. PM disable will turn modules off. And then a third related command is PM uninstall, which will actually run all of the uninstall hooks and remove database tables for a particular module. So now that we've gone out and downloaded ctools and views, let's turn the views module on. So to do that, we can do drush en and then the machine name of the module. So in this case, views. It will go ahead and prompt us, and you'll notice it's also going to turn on the ctools module. Since that's listed as a dependency, Drush is smart enough to figure out I need to turn on both. So I can go ahead and say yes. In the background, those two modules have been enabled. And now if I switch over to my site here and I go and look at the modules page, we'll notice that the modules have actually been enabled. Here we go. We've got the checkbox down at the bottom of the screen. So, yay, Drush. Thanks for saving time. The process of downloading and turning modules on can now be two commands instead of the download, unzip, copy to server, and visit the UI, which saves us a lot of time. The fifth thing we can take a look at as part of the project manager that I find useful is the PMI command, or PM info. So that'll basically give us a list of detailed information about our modules. We can again look at the help for the command, and you'll see that it basically just takes a list of modules or themes or wildcards if you don't exactly know the total machine name of a module. So let's take a look at ctools, just because the output of that is a little bit smaller first. From this we can check things like the schema number, so we can tell if, by looking at the code, if we need database updates, for example. You can tell which version of the module you're running. You can actually see the files that have been included as part of the module. A lot of times this output is really useful if you're needing to figure out version numbers, or I find myself using it a lot to get schema information without having to check in the database. We can see the same thing for the views module and see that it includes quite a few more files than ctools. It actually takes a little bit longer to run as well. There we go. Now we have the output of the PM info command for the views module, and you'll notice the list of files that views includes is quite a bit larger, which is why the output of the command took so much longer. It's actually scanning the directory and grabbing a list of the files. If we take a look at the other commands that we'll just kind of briefly touch on that come with Project Manager, the release notes command, RLN, that will actually show us a list of the release notes for a project, so we can take a look at that for views. This will actually pull in the release notes from Drupal.org for the version that we have on our site, so we can take a look at which bugs have been fixed, which issues have been closed and are part of this release. If we take a look at the help for that command, you'll also notice that if you want to output that as HTML, or if you want to look at the release notes for a particular version, which may or may not be the same as the one you have installed, you can use this command. The other command that comes with the Drush Project Manager that's very useful is the update and update code command. You'll see the aliases for that are UP and UPC. Those will actually go out and pull in new versions of a module. So say the views module had a new security release. You could run drush UPC views, and that would go out and pull in the newer recommended version on top of the version that you have installed already. So that's something you probably want to do on a dev site and not in production. But the drush UP command will do the same thing, as well as running update.php or any database and schema updates that are needed for a module. So if you've got the red nagging status message warnings saying you have a bunch of modules out of date, you can go to that page, see what the list of modules you actually need to update are, run drush UP, and that will pull in the new security releases as well as run database updates on your dev site. So you can really quickly test and see if that's going to break anything, which I find saves a lot of time since security releases can be quite frequent. Again, with any of these commands that are part of Project Manager, you can pass in the help flag to get more information. The documentation on all of these commands is really thorough and definitely should help if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions, leave a comment below. Thanks.